Welcome to Intro to Python, Lesson 5 by STEMEncounters. This is our last and final installment of the series, and we'll be going over the inner workings of functions, learning about objects, and exploring classes in this episode. By learning these, you should be able to advance your programming skills to another level, and without further ado, let's get started. Functions first. Throughout this entire course, you've probably heard me throw around the word function left and right when I talk about those weird-looking phrases that look like dot and then some name, so like copy and then close, open, close parentheses. But what are they really? Well, behind the dot function parentheses, functions are really just a large chunk of code that processes items that they're attached to. Let me show you an example of a function. Here, when we start creating functions, you always want to start with def, and then the name of your function. I'll do example underscore function. And then parentheses, colon. Always remember the colon. I press enter and you write your code here. So print hello is what I want my function to do. Now if I run it, nothing should run because I'm not calling it anywhere. Now when you declare your function, you can call it by doing typing its name. So example underscore function parentheses. And if I run this, it should run whatever piece of code that I have inside the declared function. So it should print hello. Now, another important part of function is the addition of an argument. An argument is simply just a value that will pass into our function to use. This value can be anything. It's solely dependent on what you pass into the function. To include an argument into our function, just simply declare a variable in the parentheses when you are declaring your function. So let's say my argument right here, and let's do print my argument. Now, the new altered function will print whatever I pass as my argument. To pass something into our function, just do what we normally did with calling the function, but put a data type where just a string, it could be a number, just put something in there. So I'll do hello again. If I run my code, it should print hello. But let me switch it. So the this right here will print something else. And yeah, it says bye. You can also increase the amount of arguments your function can take by simply adding a comma and another variable between the set of parentheses when declaring a function like this. My argument, parentheses, comma, another argument. Now we'll do print my argument plus, oh wait, no, put this here, my bad, plus another argument. There you go. Now I can pass two arguments into my function. Let's say hello and goodbye. Both of these should correspond with the order these are in. So hello would go to my argument and goodbye would go to another argument. Now if I run this, we should hello, goodbye. Also, if your function is, as I said, a two-argument function, you want to make sure that you pass it two arguments. Otherwise, your code will return an error. So if I just remove this goodbye here, I'll get red. Yeah. To circumvent this, however, declare a one-argument function, but include an asterisk before the argument name like this. So, this. And then you do my argument 0. Oh, in here. Plus my argument one. By doing this, you're basically telling Python that you don't know how many arguments will be passed. It could be 5, it could be 100. When you do this, however, the calling of the argument is a bit different within the function itself. Basically, when you pass values into this new infinite argument function, all your values get sent in a tuple form. This means, if you remember from the previous episode, that we'll have to call each passed argument using indexes. If you don't recall, when we do lists, when we create a list, each element in the list has a corresponding index value starting from 0 to the end of the list minus 1. So here is an example. If I do plus this, and then I'll put a bunch of stuff into my thing. Hello. I'll pass a bunch of stuff. Goodbye. And sup. Now if I run this, it'll just print hello goodbye because I don't call the third argument. And yeah, that's that. In addition to this, you can also send an entire list without having to do this fancy stuff. To do this, just declare a function like normal and pass in a list. So, also you want to utilize a loop to print all the stuff. So for x in my argument, I'll make sure this is lowercase. Print x. Now we declare a list, my list equals, let's do a numerical, so 1, 2, 3. Let's make them strings actually. And then pass the list into our function. So function my list. Now if I run this, we should get all the numbers in the list in order. The last big thing to know about functions is the return statement. The return statement allows our function to, just as the name suggests, return a value, essentially turning the function into a variable. Here's an example. So my argument, and we'll do return my argument, and then let's pass in a argument. So let's do the number 3, and because you're essentially turning it into a variable, the only way that you're going to get to see the return value is if you print it. So yeah, we get 3. Now you can do math in these as well. So my argument plus 1. Now if I run this, we should get 4 because you're passing in 3 and you're returning 3 plus 1. Now let's move on to classes and objects. Python is what we call an object-oriented programming language, similar to Java or C. What this means is that everything that we've used so far is part of some sort of object. And an object is a structure in just programming in general that has like features. So think of like a normal, think of an apple. That's an object, right? It has the feature of being red, or yeah, and just apply that to like code. So this class has this variable, which is like the equivalent of an apple having a red color. By knowing this, you'll understand the structure of Python just a little bit more. Anyway, to get started, a class is essentially just a really big function that stores variables and functions. Here's an example of a class to make it easier to understand. Let me remove our code from before, and yeah, so to make a class, you want to always start off with the keyword class, and then the class name, colon, and the feature of a class. So this class will have num equals 2. Now that we've created our class, the only way for us to access the information in the class is to create an object of the class. This is how we do it. So you want the object name. We'll do a test class, and then equals the class. So test class. A lot of test classes. And if we run it, yeah. Here we basically do the same thing as declaring a variable, but instead we replace the data type with the name of our class, plus a set of parentheses. Now that we've created an object of our class, let's try and access the num property of it. To access properties of an object, all you have to do is this. I'm going to print so you can actually visually see the element, but the name of I should probably change this. I'll just do class 1. So this is the name of our object, dot, and then the name of the feature you want to access. So dot class 1 dot num. Now if I run this, we should get 2 because the 2 in our class, our num feature of our class that is part of our object is equal to 2. The next big thing to know about objects / classes is the underscore init underscore parentheses function. I'll call it init so I don't have to say that long thing constantly. But basically, this function allows us to assign values to the properties of our object. Here's an example to help you understand it better. So let's erase this and create a new class, a person, colon. We'll include a function into it, def underscore. By the way, whenever you use the init function, since it's a function, you want the def. Init person name and age, colon, person dot name equals name, person dot age equals age. Alright. Hopefully we don't get any errors. Oh, would you look at that? Alright, there you go. In this code, I'm basically, I'm basically utilizing the init function to set the properties of, I've declared a function here and I want to set the name and age. So I would want to do, first declare an object of the person. So Tom is equal to a person. And then since we have these arguments, you want to now include them. So Tom, and then he's 20. So what this, Tom, so what this means is, here I'm declaring his name, since the name comes first, as Tom, and his age will be 20, and since I have it after the name, and age comes after name here. And the person here is just like just the thing that holds the values, the properties. So print Tom dot name, and then I'll print Tom dot age. And if I run this, we should get Tom and 20, since I've declared the Tom, the name is Tom and the age is 20. if I flip the Tom and the Tony so that it goes 20 and then Tom, in the thing passing our code, we'll get confused and set the name to the age. So if I did like 20 and then Tom, our code will get confused and set the name to 20 and then the age to Tom. So make sure that when you're sending in arguments to keep them in order. The last big part of objects that I want to teach is the fact that you can have multiple functions in your object or in your class. So here's an example. Let's keep the person class, but let's extend it by adding a def. Make sure that when you're declaring a function that it's on the same line, the def is on the same indentation as the previous function. Otherwise, the function will be a part of the previous function. So I'll do, I don't know, name hi person. Print hi plus person dot. And then you want to do Tom dot name hi and wait, just Tom dot name hi. Whoa. Oh, I forgot to change the. Oh my god, I was just talking about this error. Okay, so 20. Alright. Now if I run it, it should be fine. So in this code, I've essentially created a function within my class that prints the name of the person I declared plus hi and then the name of the person I declared. And it's important to notice that how I call the function. Notice how I put a dot and then the function's name plus a pair of parentheses after the name of the declared function. Besides that, everything is the same as how you would normally declare the function. And yeah, that's basically all there is to functions and objects in this course. I hope you enjoyed our time together, and stay tuned for more programming lessons, hopefully. And yeah, have a good day, and catch you later.